Okay, so I did not have enough computer battery to last. So we have a part 1 and a part 2 today. We left off on this problem. Excuse me. And we were talking about Ashwini. And Ashwini jogged 22 laps. And we wanted to use that rate from before. I think it was 2 5/10 minutes per lap, right? And if we know minutes per lap, if every one lap is 2 5/10, how much is 22 laps? So we're basically taking this and saying, okay, one lap, 2 5/10. We're doing that 22 times. We don't have to sit there and do that 22 times. We can actually multiply, right? Because we're sixth graders. So 22 times the 2 5/10 minutes that it takes per lap. So 5 times 2 is 10, 0. Regroup your 1. 5 times 2 is 10 again. Add your 1, and that would be 11. Put a 0 because we're moving to the tens place. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. We want to add this together. So we have 0 plus 0 is 0, 1 plus 4 is 5, and 1 plus 4 is still 5. We are going to have one decimal place value in our answer because we have one decimal place value in our factors. So I want one decimal place value. Okay. So this means it is going to take Ashwini 55 minutes to jog. I think I said swim earlier. Jog 22 laps. How does a unit rate relate the two quantities in a ratio? Can a unit rate help you solve problems involving equivalent ratios? This is one of those questions. I want you to answer it on your own. Do your best. This is what you know, all right? And just answer what you know. Maybe you're not sure how a unit rate relates the two quantities. But we should, at this point, be able to tell me how a unit rate can help you solve problems involving equivalent ratios. All right? So think about what we did with the unit rate. Before, when we would have done a problem like this with equivalent ratios, we would have used that original ratio of 15 minutes, or was it 15 laps? 16. I don't know. I can't remember. Hold on, let me go back and look. 6 laps, 15 minutes, right? So before, with equivalent ratios, when we were solving these before, 15 minutes for 6 laps, right? And we wanted 22 laps. We would have said, okay, how does 6 relate to 22? And then try to find equivalency here. All right. We don't really want to do that, right? So we instead can think of it as find our unit rate first, which is what we did, right? We found our unit rate of 2 5/10 minutes per lap, right? So we can use the unit rate to then find our equivalent ratio, which we're wanting 22 laps, right? So we took that 22 and multiplied it by 2 5/10. All right, so we can find a unit rate and then use that to find equivalent ratios. So I just answered part of that question for you. So you explain in your own words on number 5, please. Next problem. Alejandro is buying chicken for a barbecue at the rate shown in the weekly special. What does 7 pounds of chicken cost? Show your work. So we have a ratio over here, right? 4, and this is pounds per dollar, right? 4 pounds for every $5, but we want a rate, right? We could do a rate for dollars per pound, right? Because we're wanting 7 pounds. So if we're searching for 7 pounds, then we want to know how much it cost for 1 pound. All right, so let's find that rate. Okay, so all of those strategies and things that we talked about earlier, we find a unit rate, use that unit rate to find our equivalent ratio. Okay, so how do I get from 4 to 1 to find this unit rate? Well, any number divided by itself is going to be 1. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. Then I want to come over here. I want to say, 5 divided by 4. Well, I can write that as a fraction, right? 5/4. Or I could write it as a decimal, right? I'm dealing with money. Maybe I want to write it as a decimal. So I have 5 being divided by 4. Well, 5 divided by 4 is 1. 1 times 4 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. I can add a decimal point, bring it straight up, right? Add a 0, drop the 0. Now I have 10. 10 divided by 4 is 2. Subtract 8. 10 minus 8 is 2. Add another 0. Drop it. 20 divided by 4 is 5. 5 times 4 is 20. Subtract and we get 0. All right? So now we have $1.25 per pound. All right? We want 7 pounds. If it's $1.25 for 1 pound, we want that 7 times because we want 7 pounds, right? So we're going to take $1.25 and multiply it times 7 to let us know how much it's going to cost for 7 pounds of chicken. 7 times 5 is 35. 5, regroup your 3. 7 times 2 is 14 plus 3, 14, 15, 16, 17. 7, regroup your 1. 7 times 1 is 7 plus 1 is 8. Now, not done. I have decimal place values, right? 2 of them. So my answer needs 2 decimal place values. So it's going to cost Alejandro $8.75 for his chicken for his barbecue. So, steps for this. So we did, I know it gets confusing when they do the looking ahead steps and you start thinking, okay, what is this for? Remember, that's just prepping your brain for what's to come. So that's what all the looking ahead stuff was for. But now we're looking at, okay, unit rate, find your unit rate, use that to find your equivalent ratio, okay? Find a unit rate, find equivalent ratio. All right. Number 8 says, look at problem 7, what we just did. How much chicken can Alejandro buy for $8? Now we're wanting dollars. Before we wanted pounds. So we're finding a new rate. All right. I know, more work. So pounds per dollar. So we still have 4 pounds for $5, but we want to know how much for $1, right? So to get from 5 to 1, any number divided by itself is 1. Okay? So whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. Divide by 5. 4 divided by 5, I can write that as 4/5, right? Or I can write it as a decimal. 4 divided by 5. Now, I can't do 4 divided by 5, so I go ahead and put a decimal. This is 0, right? I don't have to drop the 0. The 0 is there. So now I have 40 divided by 5. Well, that's 8. Subtract 40, and I get 0. Now, this is 8/10, or if we're thinking of it, we're doing pounds, so it's 8/10. All right, so you could do this either way. You can write it as a fraction, 4/5 of a pound for every $1, or you could write it as a decimal. That's up to you, okay? So if we want to know how much it costs for 8, or how much you can get for $8, we would take our 8, multiply it times either one, times your decimal or your fraction. I'm going to go with the fraction. 8 times 4 is 32. 1 times 5 is 5. I can divide this, right? So I know that 5 times 6 is 30, which is leaving me with 2. 32 minus 30 is 2. So that's 6 2/5. 6 2/5 pounds of chicken for $8. So we find our unit rate, and then we multiply to find our equivalent ratio. Same steps, different problem. Okay. It says exit ticket. You can think of it as an exit ticket if you would like to. Anissa volunteers to fold t-shirts for the runners at a marathon. She folds 8 t-shirts every 6 minutes. At this rate, how many t-shirts does Anissa fold in 45 minutes? Show your work. So we have a ratio. I'm going to start you out on this, and I'm going to give you steps, and then I'm going to let you answer. Okay? So we have a ratio. T-shirts per minute. We have 8 t-shirts every 6 minutes. It's a pretty good folder. The best, actually. All right, so we have t-shirts per minute, and we want to know how much she can fold for every 1 minute, because we're wanting to find equivalency to 45 minutes, right? So if we can figure out how much she folds every minute, then we can multiply, okay? So 6 to 1, I'll give you a hint. Any number divided by itself is 1. Okay, so find that relationship. Do the same here. Then, whatever you get, you're going to multiply that. So, mystery number, right? Mystery number times 45 will tell you how many t-shirts she folds in 45 minutes. All right? Same steps, different problem. All right? Find your unit rate. Use your unit rate to multiply to find the equivalent ratio. Now, if you turn this in and on your paper, I see the mystery boxes without any numbers, that tells me that you didn't listen to my instructions and work the problem out on your own. That means that you just wrote down what you saw on the screen without listening to the video. That is not what I am asking you to do. Please make sure you follow the instructions. If you have questions, you can send me a message, or if you are in class with me listening to this video, ask me. Okay? All right. So that was the end of today's lesson. If you have time, please work on ALEKS topics or math stations. That is your goal for the rest of your class period.